Welcome to another episode of One-on-One. My name is David and I'm joined by Dr. Emily. How are you, Emily?
I'm great, Dave. Thanks for inviting me back.
Well, it's great to have you here. As you know, Dr. Emily heads up the child psychologist and counselor team that supports all of our Kids Hope USA national network. And along the way, they have accumulated years worth of questions that have come to them from mentors and directors out across the country. What we've done is we've selected a few of the most popular questions, and that's what we're going to address. So Emily, let's dive right in. How do I mentor if I absolutely know that my student is not telling the truth, has a problem with honesty? Okay, I'll just call it, what if my student lies?
Wow, that is tricky, isn't it?
Yes.
And as a mentor, we often wonder, what's going on? Why are they lying to me? Yeah, for sure. And that's a very common question that we receive via email from our mentors and directors. So let's talk a little bit about that. First, it's helpful to remember that when a child lies, there are different types of lies. And that might seem confusing, but there are lies that that sound like lies, but they're simply fantasies that the child might have. For instance, I received an email from a mentor who was asking how to handle their student who was talking about their mom getting ready in the morning when, in fact, the mentor knew that the mom had been in jail. So how do I handle that? My student is lying. They're not telling the truth. In that circumstance, I would say to you that most likely that child is living in a fantasy. And that's not always a terrible thing, because sometimes they need a little bit of that reality to feel somewhat secure.
Okay.
And depending on how much they trust you as their mentor, they maybe feel comfortable talking about something that might be embarrassing, such as a mom being in jail for them, and they might not. So they may come up with an excuse or a fantasy that might fill that gap for them.
Which might mean be very careful about busting the honesty bubble there and saying, no, you're a liar.
Right.
Probably should, be very cautious about how much do you call out something that isn't exactly true.
Exactly. And oftentimes I think about what balance between grace and truth looks like in a mentoring relationship. Early in a mentoring relationship, err on the side of grace with your student, because they're still learning how to build trust with you. And after you've built a lot of trust that takes lots of time in that mentoring relationship, it might be time for you to confront a situation that feels deceptive, but even so, that can be done both with grace and truth. And a phrase that I sometimes will ask students is something like this. If I feel like they've told me something that is deliberately untrue, I will say to them something like, wow, I'm not sure how accurate that is. I wonder if you want to think about that for a few minutes and then come back and we can talk about that again.
Okay. So sort of ease into that once you've established enough grace in the relationship that you can head over towards the truth side, but still handle it very carefully.
Right. And remember that lies often come from a place of fear for kids. Underlying that behavior is a strong emotion that might be fear, it might be embarrassment, it might be a fear of rejection from you as their mentor. So if you see that in them and recognize that it's coming from a place of fear, it will probably give you the grace that you need to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Oh, those are great words, and it really reframes the whole dishonesty issue as far as it's not necessarily this enormous character flaw as much as there's something going on here. Look carefully and handle it even delicately.
Absolutely. And kids need practice, just as we as adults need practice. And how often don't we struggle to be entirely truthful all of the time? Remember, your student is learning. So if you give them practice to tell the truth, they'll embrace that and their character will be okay.
There we go. And as our students develop their character, develop in life, the best part is they get to do it with you right there beside them, because we know that life together is always life at its best.